So this video will be on volume and capacity. So our learning goals for today: by the end of the lesson you'll be able to convert between common metric units for volume. You'll also be able to convert between common metric units for capacity. You'll be able to calculate the volume of a rectangular prism, and you'll be able to calculate the capacity of a regular rectangular prism. So volume is measured in cubic units, and we can convert between them. So like always, we have kilometers in this instance it's kilometers cubed, so cubic kilometers, cubic meters, cubic centimeters, and cubic millimeters. That's 3. Okay, so when we're going from cubic kilometers to cubic meters, we're getting smaller. So we're going to times our answer by 1,000 cubed. To go from meters to centimeters, there's 100 centimeters in a meter, so it's going to be 100 cubed. And centimeters to millimeters, we're going to be timesing by 10 cubed. And to go the opposite way, from small to large, we're going to divide. So in this case, divide by 10 cubed. Centimeters to meters, divide by 100 cubed. And meters to kilometers, divide by 1,000 cubed. Now, instead of typing in, divide by 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000, you can actually do to the power of 3. If you're not sure how to do that, on your calculator here, so just say 1,000, you're trying to do 1,000 to the power of 3, there's a little arrow here which means to the power of, so you can press that and you can put it into the power of anything you want. So for instance 3, and that will calculate it for you. So you're using this little arrow here and then pressing in whatever number you want it to turn it to the power of. Okay, so capacity. So capacity is the volume of fluid or gas that a container can hold. So we've got some common units there. We've got megaliters, down from that we've got kiloliters, down from that we've got liters, and then we've got milliliters. So just be careful you use the capitals correctly, because you don't want to be confusing milliliters and liters, because that's very different. So if we were going from megaliters to kiloliters, so from big to small, again we times, and there are 1,000 kiloliters in a megaliter. To go from kiloliters to liters, again we times, and again it's 1,000, so there's 1,000 liters in a kiloliter. And to go from liters to milliliters, we're also doing multiplication, and there is 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So it's quite easy to do capacity, it's just 1,000 in each. And obviously to go from small units to large, we're dividing by 1,000 each time. So a little bit more straightforward than what it is for distance. So some common conversions are, so this will help you when you're working out the capacity of containers. So 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. 1 liter obviously contains 1,000 milliliters if you want to convert between those. So 1 kiloliter takes up the space of 1 meter cubed, and that's the same as 1,000 liters. So 1,000 liters also takes up the space of 1 meter cubed. So hopefully those kind of common conversions will help you. I would memorize those if I was you. So these here, which I've drawn a great square around, they'll come in handy when we're working out capacity. Okay, so volume. So the first one is the volume of a rectangular prism. So a prism kind of is just any shape that you can cut through, and it would always have the same shape. So for instance, if I was to cut this shape across, I'd still have a rectangle or a square. So I've got a tissue box here. So this would be a rectangular prism, because if I cut it along here all the way through, it would still be a rectangle. It wouldn't matter where on here I cut down all the way through, it would still be a rectangle. Or conversely, if I cut this way, it wouldn't matter where, I'd still have squares. So the volume of a rectangular prism is the length times the width times the height. Volume of a cube is just the length cubed. So length times length times length. Okay, so let's do a worked example here. Find the volume of this rectangular prism. So we're going to start off with our formula. So volume equals length times width times height, and then we'll fill in our values. So 6 times 4 times 2. So 6 times 4, 24, times 2, 48, and meters cubed, because we are dealing with our volume here. Our next worked example, find the capacity in litres for a container that is a rectangular prism 20 centimetres long, 10 centimetres wide and 15 centimetres high. Now, when you get a worded question like this, I would make sure you draw it. So let's draw a rectangular prism. So that should be, yep, that's part of my rectangular prism here. So using a ruler, hopefully yours will look a little bit better than mine, but we get the point. That's my rectangular prism. So we know that it's 15 centimetres high, 10 centimetres wide, 20 centimetres long. So our volume equals our length times width times height. So that's 20 times 10 times 15. So type that into our calculators. 20 times 10 times 15. So that's 3,000 centimetres cubed. Now, it's asking us to work out the capacity in litres. Now, we know that 1 centimetre cubed equals 1 milliliter. So from there we can work out the amount of milliliters that this shape would hold. So it's 3,000 centimeters cubed. So therefore capacity is 3,000 milliliters. But it doesn't ask us to give the answer in milliliters, it asks us to give the answer in litres. So there's 1,000 milliliters equals 1 litre. So if we divided 3,000 by 1,000, we should be able to get our answer, and that's 3 litres. So we then write a worded answer, therefore the capacity is 3 litres. There we go. And that would be our answer to that question there. And that's the end of the video. Any questions at all, please make sure you come and ask me in class.